Okay, most med spa owners think clients just wake up one day and decide to book a treatment, but that's not how it works. There's a hidden process every client goes through before they even set foot in your med spa. And if you don't understand it, you're losing potential bookings to your competition. In this video, I'm pulling back the curtain on how med spas attract and convert clients consistently. So if you ever wondered why some med spas are fully booked while others struggle, keep watching. So in this video, what I'm going to be going over is how do the top med spas get clients? And what it really comes down to is understanding what is the client journey. So what does that mean? It's basically the steps that people go through that from when they first start looking for your service or being aware of your service all the way until they come in and pay you for your services. So there are 5 key points to this. The first one is the start. Next one is the recall process. Third one is discovery. Fourth is selection. And the last one is the close or the end. So let's start off with the first point, the start. Now, most clients don't book a med spa treatment right away. The moment that they notice that they have skin concerns, or that they're aging, or that maybe they have some wrinkles, they don't just wake up one day and be like, oh my gosh, I realize I have this wrinkle, I need to get it fixed right now. It's very, very rare that someone would come to that point. Usually what happens is that people start to notice it over time, and as it becomes more and more and more, it piles up more and more on their conscience. Then at a certain point, there's a breaking point. And that's when they want to start moving to the next step. Now, there may also be delays in them looking for treatment just because they may have some unfounded fears. Maybe it could be the cost that they're worried about. They don't know how much it costs, or they've heard that it's very expensive. Maybe they are scared that they're going to look unnatural. Maybe they're worried about what their friends would think. Judgment from their friends and family can also be something that causes them to hold back. But whatever it is that there's something that is going to be holding them back to begin with. Now, maybe it's something small, so they're able to overcome that really quickly, or maybe it takes a long period of time. But normally it is going to be friends and family that do play that role in encouraging them to take that next step. Maybe just to even book a consultation, especially if their friends and family have gone through that treatment or gone through that process themselves and had a good experience. Then they're a lot more likely to tell their friends, tell their family about it, to encourage them to do it themselves. So this is the very beginning, the start process. Now the next one is recall. Now we call this recall because during this time, they're remembering all the experiences they had before. So maybe it's recommendations from their friends. Maybe it is something that they saw an ad somewhere, or saw something on TV, or it could be any number of things. Now this process usually takes about less than a week. Like by the time someone puts their mind to it and starts looking, this is going to be usually pretty quick. Now, if people don't have a friend or family member that's able to refer them to a practice, at that point, they're really going to turn to Google. That's usually the number one place they're going to, and look for a reputable med spa. So it's important that you need to make sure you're there, make sure what is showing is good, and people have a immediate positive first impression with you, so that people are inclined to want to reach out to you. Now, this starts to lead us into that discovery step. This is the third step. So discovery is where they start looking around. Now, I mentioned before, Google is typically where most people are looking if they don't already have someone that recommended them. But usually that's where people start their search. Now, you could get people from social media. That's definitely a hotspot that a lot of med spas are using. Instagram, TikTok, even YouTube, Facebook as well. But Instagram, TikTok usually are going to be those prime places that people are going to find it first. Now, they do play a role, but I would say that it's going to be a little bit more secondary. Unless you just have lots and lots of content and people have been following you over time, then yes, you can get people directly from social media. But usually social media is something that is going to light the fuse, but then from there, people are going to do a Google search and look you up. The social media aspect of it is more to get their attention. Maybe they're seeing you before and afters, maybe they're seeing your client testimonials, and this is really just building credibility in their eyes of how they view you. Now, they also could be searching for med spas that offer special offers, but it's really going to be based on that specific treatment. Now, at this point, you're looking really at 2 different buckets. Looking at people who is looking specifically for that treatment, so they know the name of it. They know Botox, they know filler, they know M-Sculpt, they know Radius, they know Sculpture, whatever it is that they know the name of the treatment and they are looking for that. Now, this is going to be a little bit more prevalent. So if the service is well known, like Botox, for example, or M-Sculpt or Cool Sculpt, then they're much more likely to actually search the name of that actual treatment. But if people don't know what it is, they may be looking for conditions. So what I mean by conditions: treatment for baggy eyes, treatment for fine lines, how to reduce wrinkles, things along that. So you need to be aware of that, of people may be searching for the name itself, people may be looking for the conditions. So you have to be aware of that so that you're being found for whichever way people search, you're showing up for both situations. Because this all, again, comes down to discovery. Now, the next stage is selection. This is the fourth step in this process, the selection. And what it really comes down to is credibility and trust. Now, what does this mean? Is that prospects are really going to choose a med spa, or at least give the first shot to a med spa that they're finding in the top search results. So again, if they're mostly looking on Google, they're going to look at the top. They may skip over the ads. Then they're going to typically see the Google map pack or the Google 3-pack. This is the map with the 3 businesses next to it. Now, from there, what they're going to be looking at? They're looking at the position, but they're looking at reviews, social proof. These all play really key roles in whether people are going to reach out to you first. So if people see a result and all the businesses look approximately the same as far as review goes, as far as review score goes, they're typically going to start from the very top and then just go down the list. Now, let's say though that there's one practice in there that has overwhelmingly much more reviews than the other 2. Really, no matter where that practice is, located at number 1, number 2, number 3, people are simply going to go to that business first and choose that business first, at least giving them the first shot. So what do I mean by overwhelming? Let's say 2 practices have a 4.8 star rating and 50 reviews. Let's say the third practice has a 4.8 star rating and 200 reviews. That's an overwhelming number, multiples of the other ones. And so if you're in a case where you're multiples of the other ones and your review score is pretty similar, then in that case, you're going to get most of the people coming to you first and giving you the first crack at it. And that's really what's going to make a big difference in your practice, is that you having that situation where the majority of people are reaching out to you first. But if you're not, then you're basically fighting with all your other competition in that map search. So that's how you want to be able to stand out, is by reviews. I would say is the number one way, the easiest way for you to stand out when people are just looking through and going through this selection process. Now, after this, after people select you, the next thing is making sure that you're actually answering the phone or responding back to them. Because this is another hidden part that I see a lot of people make a mistake on, is that they're ranking well, they have lots of online reviews, but they're really slow to get back to people. And so if you've ever had this situation in your practice where someone submits information, somebody calls your practice, you're not able to pick up, you call them a couple hours later or maybe the next day and they say, oh, I'm no longer interested, thanks. And you wonder to yourself, why are you no longer interested? You just called us yesterday. You just called us a couple hours ago. You just submitted your information. Like, how are you not interested so quickly afterwards? Well, in reality, what happened is that they went to Google search, they saw you, they called you first, you didn't pick up, they went to the next person, called them, they didn't pick up, called the next person, they picked up, and then they got them to book an appointment, and now they have them on the books. So by the time that you call them back, they already have an appointment, they're not interested in you anymore. So that's why, if you get first shot at it, you have to take advantage of that first shot. You have to get back to them as soon as possible. So you can book them, get them in for a consultation, and lock them down. And so once you do that, now we go to the very last step, which is the close, or the end. So this is where people come in, they like your services, you close them on the treatment. And your client really gets to experience the entire flow of how they come in, how you treat them, how you give them procedure, and how you take care of them afterwards, and moving forward. So, and of course, if they're happy, they're gonna keep coming back, they get more treatments from you, they're gonna refer more friends. Now this part is critical, especially for medical spas, is that medical spas make the majority of their money on the repeat business. So that first experience is going to be critical. Even if you're in a position where you potentially may even lose money on the first experience, whether it's because you're doing marketing to get these leads, or maybe you just give them an amazing experience, you give them a lot of extra value, maybe you give them some cool thing that maybe costs you a little bit of money, and maybe you lose money on that first visit, but they're going to be so blown away that they're going to keep coming back to you over and over and over again. And especially if you have other services that you can cross-sell them on, now you start to bring up the value of your client significantly higher over time. What we've seen that for most med spas that are doing Botox, filler, and have some type of higher end treatment like body contouring, thread lifts, things like that, is that if you do this properly, that your value, your 2-year value of your average client should be about $6,600. So If that's not anywhere close to what you're doing now, you need to work on your cross sells, you need to work on your upsells. If you're above that, then that's great. So you already understand that you make money on the repeat business. So you want to make sure that that initial experience they have just completely blows them away. So that is the process that people go through. So from the beginning, it is the start when they are aware of the problem. After that is the recall process, where they start to look and think about, okay, what was all the experiences that I've heard from other people? What were all the names of these treatments I've heard from people? And they start to do their search. After that is the third one, is discovery. This is when they actually start actively looking for somebody to reach out to. Fourth step is selection. This is when they're starting to select those few practices that they want to reach out to first and give them the first chance. Now, after they select that practice, now it's the close or the end, where they get to experience what you do, what you can offer, and is it a good experience? Do they want to keep them back to you or not? So that's everything in a nutshell. So once you understand the journey that someone goes through, now you can start to change how you change your experience, how you start looking for your clients, and how you're able to put yourself and your practice out there to be able to attract these types of people. So hopefully you got a lot out of this. If you need any help with this, there's a link below. You can schedule a time to talk with our team. We're happy to explain this in more detail on how it can work specifically for your practice. But until then, wishing you the best and much success.